we've arrived, okay? We are now in our planning mode for our companion book. And while this isn't going to be due for a little bit, all of the work that you've been doing now and the work that you're going to continue doing are leading us to this idea of a companion book. And so today I want to show you some examples. So I want you to be thinking, okay, right? This seems like brand new information. Okay, we kind of talked about the Hunger Games companion book. I'm going to show you some examples from that today. I don't have a copy with me, but I do have some of their chapter titles, and so that's really going to help us, help guide us into what we're doing today. And so your bell ringer today was all about text structures. Can somebody, really quick, can you turn to your partner and will you tell them what you wrote for your bell ringer answer about? I didn't know
chapters, like real events, timeline. But I don't think that's right, but that's what I know it's in.
All right, voices off in 3, 2, and 1. I heard a lot of compare and contrast and cause and effect. So I heard that, and I know, and that makes me so happy because I know if we look at our ways of visualizing relationships, right, we talked about cause and effect and compare and contrast. You guys are used to writing in that form. And so I want to share with you today some other examples. So if we kind of look at this chart, everybody eyes up here, okay, these are all different ways that nonfiction writers organize their text. It's way different, right? When you create an outline for a nonfiction text, right, for informative text, it's not the plot pyramid. Right? There's no resolution, rising action, climactic event, right? These are the types of outlines that we want to create. So things like problem solution, right? You might write chapters today on things that are the problem in the story, and you're going to structure it, and then the last couple chapters are the solutions to those problems, right? Maybe it is in chronological order. We know that's just like this happened first, then this, then this, then this. And again, these aren't summaries, these are just how you're organizing your text. The list and boxes and bullets, that's my favorites. I write about like a person, an object, and then you just kind of like talk about how they're similar, how they're different, how they all connect, right? We think about our story elements and how they connect. The list and boxes and bullets is one of my favorite. Classification, this is where you talk about different categories, different kinds of things in a text, and then you discuss those different things. Definition, where you have a claim, you give example, and then you introduce counterclaim by saying like, oh, here's a non-example of this. Right? And then trail of research, or you could do a combination of all those. Maybe each chapter has a different text structure. Maybe you have the same text structure in every chapter. It does not matter to me. This is where your choice comes in. You get to figure out what works best for the entries that I've started to create. And as you get going, right, you're going to notice these things. And so this chart is something that is going to stay up, and it's going to be here to help you. I also have another one for you to look at. It's a little bit smaller. And so what I want to do really quickly is I'm going to show you some of the chapter titles to the Hunger Games, and I want you just to reflect with your partner, okay? What do you think about the organizational structure of maybe some of these chapters? Take your guess at what they would be, okay? I'm going to read them for you, but I want you to just look at them. So this is the Hunger Games trilogy, Surviving the End of the World, and this is that companion book to the trilogy of the Hunger Games. And I know some of you, I think, Rayshawn, you're writing a companion book for a series, right? Is anybody else doing a series?
I just
kind of. Okay, yes, you're doing
the whole series, like all the books.
Nope, it could be just a few of them. So that might work. So there's a couple of you. So this would be good to know, right? If you're doing a series. So one of the chapters is hunger, starving in the districts. Another chapter was weapons, how tributes survive. Another chapter is the nature of evil, President Snow and his cronies. And you don't have to have read this book to really reflect here. Survival instincts and strategies. Does Katniss know what she's doing? And then one I didn't write on here was mutations and other hybrids, birds, beasts, and roses. Okay? So I want you to kind of think, using this list, what do you think each chapter would use? Okay? So reflect with your partner. Do that really quick for me. I'm going to hold this up for you to look at. Okay? Reflect with your partner. Take a guess. There are no spoilers. These aren't spoilers. Okay? So look at the list and look at this list. Guys, you need to look at these two lists, Damien. Look at these two lists and then decide what did they use?
Because
remember, do you see any patterns? Any patterns here?
like it kind of goes of blood.
Are you seeing any patterns in their text structure? Like, are all these arranged in the same way? Are they in order? So think about like chronological order. Do these look like they're in chronological order?
I don't know.
Well, just take a guess. If you had to guess, do you think that it's written in first chapter is all about the districts, next chapter is all about their weapons? Do you think that the book does that? No, why not?
You told me to.
Yes, I know. So I'm just helping you. I'm helping you get your guess correctly. Okay. All right, voices off in 3, 2, 1. It looks like some of us eyes up here, right, are a little bit confused. If you ever read the book, that's okay. But we're noticing that there's not a clear pattern, right? That they didn't use an overarching text structure. So each one, right, might have its own. It seems more like kind of a bulleted list. If you think about it, like each chapter is closest to that bulleted list, right? And then they're using a combination of all the different text structures within each chapter, okay? And so, and some of them might be that all about structure or that all about, which means like some chapters discuss like kinds of relationships, right? Other chapters discuss the sequence of events. Maybe that's happening in some, right? Some of them are those description, those classification. And so you'll notice when you start planning today, Isaac here, you'll notice when you start planning today that your entries might not follow the same pattern. And so you get to pick and choose between this list, right, of how you want to organize your thinking. And so today, writers, what we really want to focus on, if you think about our ICANN statement up at the front, okay, I want to teach you that writers get ready to write informational text about literature by planning out their sections. And so really all you are going to have to do today is you're going to draft and redraft a plan that encompasses the most important parts of your book. Okay, and so that is your goal, is to get these chapters on paper. And we're going to do that together here really quickly before I send you off for you to do that on your own. And so today is going to be a lot of reflection on the writing that you've already done. And so that's really important. Okay, so if we think, let's go back to Stolen Party, because a table of contents is the best way to get your thoughts down on paper. Pencils down for me real quick. Okay, and so that is going to be our outline. Okay, and so that's what good writers do. Then they figure out what they've already written that can go in that text. Why are we going to reinvent the wheel if we already have a ton of writing? Yes, you might have to do some rewriting, but you have the crux of your idea. You have the meat of it. Okay, and so we're going to really quick, we're going to brainstorm some titles, chapters for the Stolen Party. Okay, and so today, this morning, I was looking back in my notebook and I was thinking, okay, what have I been spending a lot of time on? Okay, and I'm thinking like, what is the most important part of the story? Really quick, turn and tell your neighbor what's the most important part, or who is the most important person in Stolen Party. Really quick, go. Okay, all I'm hearing everyone say is Rosara, right? Can we agree that she is super important? Okay, so then, like, what about her is important? And as I was looking through, I was noticing, I was reflecting on my timeline, and I was reflecting on her emotions, right? And I just heard Ethan say her mom, right? Exactly. And so my first chapter might be Rosara and her mom, right? Because I think that is a really important relationship. Rosara is in the entire story, right? We see it with like, it's like our third person limited, and so we follow her through our whole story. Okay? And then is there anybody else that she has relationships with that are important in that story? What do you guys think? Who? Luciana, and who else? Senora Inez, right? And so Luciana, the girl with the bow, yes, and she's kind of a part of the Inez family, right? That's the mom, the daughter, and the cousin. And so I agree with you. I think that Rosara and Senora Inez, and the Inez family, that would be an entire chapter to talk about their relationship, right? Because Rosara thinks one thing, right? And the Inez family thinks a completely different thing. And so that would be, for me, another chapter title, because a lot of my writing centered around those relationships. Okay? And so we're starting to see a pattern. Is there anybody else try to talk to your partner. Is there anybody else that she kind of has an interaction with that might be important? Try to tell your partner really quick. Okay. What do you guys think? Monkey, Luciana, we have, she's in the Inez family, so we kind of already have her covered. What else? Who else? There we go. Okay, this group over here, they got it. They hit it right on the head. The magician, right? He's kind of an important person. Okay, right? And he kind of goes along with the monkey, right? That relationship. Karma.
Couldn't you put all those into one chapter for relationships?
You could, but our story is pretty short, and so I think you're coming to something that I want to talk about in just a second. Okay? And so, right, so these are all things that we've added to our list. And so now what I want you to do really quick is talk to your partner. What are some other things? What are some other things that you might think we should include that don't have any, that aren't necessarily character driven? Turn and talk. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Go. What do you guys think? Not that aren't here. What are some other parts of the story that are important that we should talk about? Or entries that I've written. Are there any more things that are so the dollar at the end, or the dollar happens. I agree with you there. Payment. Argue with your mom. That would probably fit in the relationship one, right? With her mom. Yes.
I was thinking like the kitchen.
Okay.
She feels like really special because she can only she.
Yes. Okay. Pause. I'm hearing so many good ideas. You guys hit the nail on the head. So Karma just said significance of the kitchen, which I agree. I had that written down as well. And then Rayshawn and his group talked about the money at the end. Right? How have we not talked about that yet? That was such an important part. And then I also heard you guys talking about the monkey again. So I just have like the magic show also ready to go. Okay? And so as we reflect and think, okay, these are the things that are important. Okay? And so these are some really great ideas. This would be some really great chapters. Isaac, up here, buddy. And so as I was like, this morning when I was like looking through, and last night when I was looking through my notebook, I came across these. And then Karma, what did you say a minute ago about something about combining things?
Well, if you think about it, Rosara the Magician, Rosara and her mother, Rosara and Enid's family,
Mm-hmm.
they're all like in the relationships category, and then $2 in the kitchen, they're all in like objects, I guess you could.
Yeah, so you could even organize, like, so you could have, like, 2 sections, right? So if you think in, like, Fast Food Nation, how they have, like, what it was, I don't even remember. It was, like, they had 2 parts, the American Way and the meat and potatoes. So maybe our first section is section 1, it's called relationships, and then we have chapters 1, 2, and 3 are Rosara and so-and-so, right? And then our second part is, like, important objects or symbols. And so it might be money, and, like, the $2 at the end, and the magic show, and the kitchen, right? So we might organize it in 2 parts with like big headings and then subheadings. That might work, right? Or you could start like the magic show matters and Rosara and the Magician. You might combine those 2 things, right? Because they're really overlapping. And so that's what you want to notice today in your writing is what patterns are you seeing? What themes are you seeing emerge? Isaac, I'm up here. Like you need to put your notebook down. And so, right. So that's what your goal is today. And so you're going to be doing that with your partner. And so these are some really great ideas that we came up with, right? I was hoping that you guys were going to head in that direction, and you did. And so then I'm going to be starting to think about, okay, how do I want to structure this? Like, do I want to create a part 1 and a part 2? What chapter should come first? I'm thinking Rosara and her mom, since it's the start of the story, right? Maybe I'm going to sequence it, like, these are the relationships you see, and then I'm going to talk about the objects, just like you said. Like, I might pick and choose. Like, if I'm thinking about the relationships, maybe I'm going to compare and contrast about like how I did with my timeline, the different emotions that were felt between Rosara and all these other characters, right? And so I'm just going to be thinking about that. Okay? So the first work that you have to do, eyes on me, this is your assignment today. The first work you have to do is sort through your entries. Okay? So all the writing you've been doing, you need to flip through it. Okay? And then, right, the next thing you do is you do exactly what we just did together. You start coming up with those chapters. Okay? And again, this can't be summary. We are done summarizing. You've done a great job. You've shown me you know how to do that. I'm not worried about summarizing anymore. This is all, right, your reaction to the writing. Okay? And so I'm going to find us some loose leaf paper. I want you to look through your notebooks, but as you start to draft, Parker, head up over here. As you start to draft, I want you starting to draft on loose leaf paper. Okay? And I'm going to have a folder that we're going to keep those loose leaf pieces of paper in, so that way then you don't lose them. These are going to start to becoming our drafts, right, our rough draft for our companion book. And so that's what I want you to be thinking about. Okay. I'm also I'm gonna put some more Post-its out, and so if you want to start like writing like we did here, so now I can move these around. I might put them in different order. So if you want to start mapping things out on your Post-its, okay, you can do that. Yeah.
So we read about our chapters today.
Today, your goal is you're gonna draft and redraft. You're gonna draft and redraft the plan, and your plan is your table of contents. Yep. So that is your goal, is to get your table of contents done. Okay, when you finish, then start writing your chapters. What you're going to notice, though, is that you're going to have to do some rewriting. Your entries aren't perfect as they are. Okay, those were just your initial thoughts. Now you need to start shaping them into your chapters. And that's what's going to make the most sense. Okay? So really quick, I want you to turn and talk to your partner. Tell them what your plan is for today. When you have your plan, go right back and get to work. You can do it. Tell your partner.
I guess like writing the chapters like she said. But like my book does have chapters. It has a lot of them. So once I was saying, I'm going to like sort through everything and find things that match. And
Do you guys have a plan? Your plan, Lily? Oh yeah, hit the stop button.
oh.